Magic Conj, will I ever get to meet Tom Kenny?
Maybe someday.
Oh, so you're saying there's a chance. Okay. Should I tell fans of the show how they can support us?
Yes.
Goofy Goobers, supporting the show is shockingly easier than catching a blue jellyfish. Right from our anchor page, anchor.fm/SpongePod, you can find links to all of our social media and a support button if you happen to have a few extra clams. Also follow us on mixer.com/SpongePodSquareCast, where it's not only the official home to our sister show, Video Bob Game Pants, it's also where I stream live drawings of various Nickelodeon characters and host the opportunity for commissions and giveaways. Lastly, the official merchandise store is now open at redbubble.com/people/SpongePod, where various designs will be uploaded inspired by our show, including our official logo, which is now available on a multitude of products like t-shirts, stickers, duvet covers, and even a shower curtain. This is a podcast by a fan for fans and will always be fan-driven. Any way you see fit on supporting our show is much appreciated. Thank you and enjoy. Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to another episode of I'm Ready, a SpongePod Squarecast. My name is Captain Eric, and we are continuing our sail through the first season of SpongeBob SquarePants. Man, this is just... what's currently going on in the world is starting to get to me a little bit, but I haven't broken yet. And where I live, things are potentially opening up in about a week. And so my job, I am an essential worker, but I work for a company that you would not assume is essential. And so my job got flipped on its head when everything kind of closed, and there were ways for us to be open and to still help people. So that's been a couple months now that I've been working in this capacity, and I've gotten used to it. And I kind of don't want to go back to just being open and things. So in about a week, things are just going to be changing. But of course, nothing's going to change here on this front. I know that the upload schedule, we haven't been really consistent here. And that falls solely on my heels and no one else's. I'm the only person who works on this show. Sometimes I address the show as we, hey, we'd love to have you on. It's more of a, I don't know, because I feel like there are other idle hands that help out in the show indirectly, other, people in my life. But anywho, things are just going to be still chugging forward. My goal is really just, I know throughout this situation, episodes have been uploaded, one every 3 days, 4 days, more consistently than usual. But I'm not worried about getting guests on for every episode if I have to do everything myself. And that's kind of why I started this show on my own, so that it's just me. I don't have to worry about anyone else to get this show out. So my goal is to just get as much back catalog as I can so that we can just upload on a weekly basis, because that's what gets more people to pay attention to the show. Somebody might catch one episode and go, oh, that's cute, but he doesn't really upload frequently. And frequent, consistent uploads is what people genuinely like when they find a show or a podcast or something that they like. So regardless on my work, things are going to keep chugging along with the show. If you haven't checked our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, I uploaded a special video in the last few days in which I read one of the little golden books of the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. It was basically a short story about SpongeBob joining Camp Coral and just kind of, meeting a few of the characters there. I saw this in Target and I thought, there's a lot of parents struggling right now. There's a lot of kids probably stuck at home. There's just glued to phones and TV screens and looking for content, keeping kids busy. And I figured maybe there's a kid out there who would be, would enjoy a story time. So I uploaded that. So if you're an audio listener of this show, certainly go and watch one of those videos. Like, share. I think you can comment on the Facebook one, on the YouTube one. Most of the show, even though the show is family friendly, I don't upload the episodes as YouTube Kids content because, yeah, the idea of getting comments and maybe adding ads later on through YouTube so that I can make some money off of it. If you put it under the YouTube Kids, I know comments get disabled, but I think for ads, they shut those off too. For the story time episode, it's completely, I put it up for, YouTube Kids. And it's definitely garnered way more views than any of the other episodes in such a short amount of time. But there's no way to comment on that. So if you find it on YouTube, you won't be able to comment. But if you go and find it on Facebook, you'll be able to comment. And I would love to hear what you guys think about that. I have no problem trying to track down other books to read, but it just, feels like it's more for the younger crowd. And if I have any older fans out there, that might not be something that's up your wheelhouse. Last episode I recorded, I think it's in order right now. I think I'm caught up. I mentioned a few ideas for the YouTube channel, other avenues I'll be going down. So we do have the planned the Nickelodeon Funko Pop review series, coming down the pipe. I pretty much have the first few sets completed, so I'm good to go. So I can start, doing that. And probably before the month ends, I think I mentioned before May ends, I'd like to at least have one episode in the can. Those are probably not going to be so frequently updated, like, once a month. Maybe they'll be once a month. I don't want to rush through it though. But here's some good news. I, for some reason, last week decided to purchase it's not dumb. It's not dumb. I purchased the 7-quart slow cooker, the SpongeBob edition from Box Lunch. Not sponsored. It was just on a really good deal, and I had some Box Lunch money, and it was one of those weird items that I've seen for so long, and I thought, I think that's cool to own, but it's also really nerdy. I don't know what people would think about it. But then there was just this one night where I was like, you know what? I'm getting it. I'm buying this slow cooker. Yeah. I've never cooked in a crock pot before or a slow cooker. So this is a cool thing. And I got it in the mail, and I am being completely honest about this. I did not, this was not my plan from the beginning, but I got it in the mail, and the first minute I opened the box from Box Lunch, and looked at the slow cooker, I felt so, I don't know, I love SpongeBob, but it felt for the first time in a while that I bought something really it was an impulse purchase, and I felt kind of dumb. But then I thought, so that was the first minute. But then when I took it out of the box and I was staring at it a bit more, I thought, well, wait a minute. I have a YouTube channel for my show about SpongeBob, and here's a slow cooker. I could just make a cooking show, a slow cooker tutorial or recipes, and can, do one once every so often with the slow cooker. And boom, I was super excited about buying it. Now, I had a reason for it, so that when I tell people, oh, I bought a SpongeBob slow cooker, I could say, no, it's for a cooking show I'm making. So totally not planned at purchase, totally not planned in transit, but it's now a plan in process. So really, when I started this show, there was not an idea of doing more video content. It was the audio podcast and the streaming video game show. It was just those two components. And now that I'm sitting here, I've sat here for a couple months in self quarantine. Well, still working, but working less, and coming up with more ideas and going, well, the YouTube channel and hand in hand the Facebook page. They don't have to just upload episodes of the show. I could do more video content, so there's more to do. So that's there's that idea. So the story time idea, once again, not planned. Saw the book, came out of nowhere, and now that's a whole other series that I have. So right now it's this audio podcast. It's the Mixer Show, Video Bob Game Pants. There's Story Time. There's a Slow Cooker episode, and there's the Funko review show. That's 5 different shows based off of this one concept, which is fantastic. So, that's great. That's great. I like the slow growth here. A few other things I want to address. I've said it. I say it a lot because I always want to remind myself this is family friendly. I always tell you guys to follow me on Instagram, and I do get a fair amount of personal messages, people who find the page and they'll message me, and once in a while there'll be questions. Usually it's just kind of comments of hey, thanks for the content, or I enjoy the show, or suggestions, which I absolutely love. Given what has happened in the world with certain internet celebrities and fan interactions, I want to make something extremely clear. I don't want to have anybody feel like they can't message me or comment on any posts or any videos to say, nice things and to feel like you're not going to get a response. You will get a response from me, but I would like it for more of that to be public. I would like it to be more on the posts themselves, and I would rather scroll through and respond to people than have anything be private. I, of course, want fans on the show eventually when things kind of naturally get there. I've had people ask to be on the show now. We'll get there. We'll certainly get there, and we'll open up some sort of way for people to kind of put their name in a hat to be on the show. I'll set that up in some way, but I just want to make sure that myself as the host is entirely transparent, because there's constant, I don't know, you just hear about people who, especially when it's stuff where kids might be involved, and it just, I don't want to be a part of that. So if you do send me a private message on Instagram or on the Facebook page, you'll get a response, but don't expect a conversation. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, I would much rather have a conversation with any of you long term in public comments than I would in private DMs. And I think it's just, I wanted to throw that out there, given a story I read earlier this week, and just going, yeah, I want to make sure that fans of this show, people who listen, parents who might listen, with their kids, that kind of behavior is just not going to happen. Because this is just what I want to do. I don't expect for this show. This show is just about passion. It's just a passion project. It's something that I'm just going to keep doing. Regardless on if things. I would love there to be growth. I would love there to be. We can build up a fan base here, but it's still a niche concept. Like when I tell people, yes, I run a show about SpongeBob, but it's a little bit more. It's about life. It's about nostalgia, and it is about, yes, it does kind of revolve around SpongeBob, but it's not just a constant conversations about SpongeBob. There's other things going on here. So just like this, I've spent the last 13 minutes talking about my life and things going on with the show. This is what it is. So, we'll see how things go. Anyway, on to the episode for this episode. The episode of SpongeBob we're going to be looking at is a season 1 episode called Squeaky Boots. What's really, I'm going to say this first before we start the show, because I don't want to not have a lot of content speaking, to myself about the episode. This is one of the first concepts Steven Hillenburg had for SpongeBob. And in fact, this episode is actually the second episode produced for season 1, and third overall, after, there was Help Wanted and Tea at the Tree Dome, which was, the first episode. This was the next one made. And of course it didn't air next. It aired all the way of the second part of episode 8. But this is a concept Steven Hillenburg had even early on with SpongeBob, was him getting the Squeaky Boots, annoying Mr. Krabs, and Mr. Krabs going through a whole crazy situation going on with the Squeaky Boots. So we got a super classic episode here. And of course, I'm going to be watching from Amazon Prime, which I guess just decided that my password is wrong. Don't you hate that? You have a password for years, you're always putting it incorrectly, and then there's some person just going, "No, you're not right. It's not right." Hold on one second. Let me take care of this.
2,000 years later.
So everything got fixed. You know what? If anybody was perturbed by that, I do apologize. On the episodes, if anybody notices on the episodes where I have somebody, there's that break in which we watch the episode and come back, and during then is when you'll hear the ad for Anchor. But any episodes where it's just me, there's not usually a break, so I throw the Anchor ad at the beginning, and then you have to, oh my goodness, suffer through 2 ads before you get to the episode. And I really hope at least the SpongePod one, no one skips through. I mean, after you hear it for a while, yeah, I can understand it probably gets a little ear grating. And hopefully for those that do skip it, you at least do one of the things I asked. That would be super helpful. But anyway, I took this pause, and Amazon was just going crazy. It was, it made me confirm it was me through a security thing, and then we're going to send a password to your email. Okay. Put the password in, re-security check with numbers. And then it wants me to put in my phone number. Okay. Sends a password to my phone, check with security numbers. Like, I was going through 10 different hoops for no reason whatsoever. It was just, I don't know if it was paranoid that I was logging in again on this computer, but now I'm finally logged in on Amazon. That's crazy. You can watch this episode. This episode is on the SpongeBob Christmas DVD, the complete first season, the Hall Monitor DVD, first 100 episodes, the Holidays with SpongeBob 3 DVD gift set, and of course, this is also on Nicktoons Collection Volume 3 on GBA Video. If you happen to have that cart and a GBA, by all means, pause this episode, go and get your GBA, go get Nicktoons Volume 3, and watch along with me on your Game Boy Advance. I can't wait to get that first. This is now the second or third episode I brought that up. I cannot wait to get the message that someone actually did that. But anyway, if you're starting along with me, of course, we're skipping the intro. We're starting right at the title sequence, and you can start that right now. And here we go. Okay, so we have Squeaky Boots on the screen. So like I was talking before, this is a very early concept for Steven Hillenburg. There was even a drawing of SpongeBob in Squeaky Boots that he made in the original 1996 Pitch Bible. For those that don't know, a show's Bible, a lot of cartoons and I don't know if I've heard about this concept more for animation than I have with live action shows, but so many animated shows out there have put out what's called the show's Bible, in which when you're creating the show, you're creating almost the rules and what needs to be in the show, what doesn't need to be in the show, character traits, you stick by these guidelines that you're creating for the show. So right at the beginning here, and I'm not going to gloss over this is the debut of Pearl Krabs. This is the first episode she appears in, and of course she becomes, not more prominent, but a very big, both literally and figuratively, big side character of the show. She is Mr. Krabs' daughter, and of course the mom is never really shown or talked about, as far as I know. Maybe in later seasons there's been more allusion to it, but not that I can remember at this time. But anyway, she is voiced by Lori Allen, who, as far as I know, has voiced her since the beginning. And Pearl is the second main character that Steven Hillenburg created for the show. He was inspired to design her while working as a supervisor for whale watches at the Ocean Institute. And that's pretty incredible. And if you look at very early pictures that Steven Hillenburg created for the show, you can see his very rough drawings of SpongeBob, Squidward, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, and then Pearl would always be there as well. So she was always meant to be a part of the show, and it's kind of cool to know that very early on she was a part of it. I don't know if early on he knew, oh, this was going to be Mr. Krabs' daughter, but as far as we can tell, that might have been his intentions, but she was at least drawn possibly earlier than Mr. Krabs. Her original tagline not tagline, but this blurb that Steven Hillenburg wrote for Pearl is that she's the teenage whale, this lovely daughter of Mr. Krabs, spelled with a C, mind you. That was early on. Literally the largest teenager on the planet, possessing the biggest brain in Bikini Bottom. She is quite probably its most intelligent citizen, yet she is still immature, and her interests are the same of those of an average girl: cheerleading, the mall, boys, 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 and the rebellious music of her generation. She's gifted in math, so naturally her father tries to interest her in the exciting life of restaurant bookkeeping. I'm so sure, Daddy, Pearl is more interested in fads than counting French fries. Well, so that was the little blurb written about Pearl here. And it's interesting that at one point she was made to be the smartest in Bikini Bottom. Right now on the screen, that sequence right there of Mr. Krabs' dream having money go into the register. This is the second time CG was used in the show. The first being, I believe, in the last episode we just watched. Goodness, now I'm trying to think about that. Let's see, a jellyfish jam. Yes, that was the first time CG effects were used. So they were clearly getting their foot in the door of CG. This is the first appearance of Mr. Krabs' house. This is the first episode to be centered around clothing. This is also the first episode to be focused on Mr. Krabs. And one lesser-known fact is this is the first time Mr. Krabs is shown to pay SpongeBob at work. That's interesting. He pays him in the boots. I don't know if anyone's had an issue with their porthole like that, but I always thought Mr. Krabs' home, I love his decor. I love the whole pirate seafaring theme. But the fact that he sleeps in a hammock is, I don't know, it's terrible. I feel bad for the guy. Dude, I know you're cheap, but can you just buy a bed from Undersea IKEA or wherever you get your beds from? It feels kind of silly. Now, of course, SpongeBob getting really addicted to these squeaky boots, which seems to annoy Squidward and Mr. Krabs, but it seems like the patrons of the Krusty Krab not really caring about it. I don't think they mind. She, out of all of the main characters, I guess if you're including Pearl, she is the last one to debut, which is so interesting for two reasons. One, we already mentioned that she was the second character designed by Steven Hillenburg after SpongeBob. And then this is also, like I had mentioned, this is the third episode, in order. So she was supposed to debut before Mrs. Puff. But of course, this episode just got pushed all the way to the 8th, which is interesting. When Mr. Krabs shouts out to Sponge Boy me Bob, when SpongeBob first walks into his office, Sponge Boy was the original name of SpongeBob. In fact, the original name of the show, it's been mentioned before, was called Sponge Boy Ahoy. But then Nickelodeon found that there was already a trademark for Sponge Boy for a cleaning product by a mop company had Sponge Boy already kind of battened down. And I think SpongeBob fits a lot better. during and we mentioned this, I believe it was either for Jellyfish Jam or for another episode, about during the Rugrats movie, there was a promotion, I believe, with Burger King where a set of scratch and sniff stickers were released. Or it says released at specific fast food restaurants. I don't know. I know that throughout the 90s, a lot of Nickelodeon shows had toy deals with Burger King. I think Rugrats maybe had one with McDonald's, but I feel like their first one. I remember those toys. There was the 5, one of each baby. There was Tommy, Chucky, Phil, Lil, Angelica. Phil and Lil were on a bike together, and then there was a Reptar, I believe. And my mother, God bless her, went to like every. Let me look this up. Rugrats, Burger King toys. My mother went to so many Burger Kings to get me all of those toys. I was spoiled, but I was not ungrateful, if that makes sense. I appreciated when my mother would do these things, but I was not like a bug on her, like, you have to get me these things. No, it wasn't like that. It was just she wanted to make me happy. I was a good kid. So yeah, there was a set of 5. It was Tommy crawling, Chucky on this little like bouncy thing, Angelica in a car, the twins on a bike, and the Reptar. I had all 5. I was the only person that I knew of that was able to get all 5, and it was all thanks to my mother. Burger King has had a crazy amount of good Nickelodeon toys. There's also the tree set that you can get, the buildable, like each baby is on the set of a tree, and that you can connect all of them together. There's 8, and you make like this giant tree house of a Burger King toy. I miss those kind of concepts, the build. Of course, that just reminds me of Inspector Gadget, which is probably one of the greatest Happy Meal toys ever. You collect every we Inspector Gadget. We got to talk about Squeaky Boots here. Of course. Okay, so through various fast food restaurants, you would get a scratch and sniff sticker. And one of them was when Mr. Krabs drops the boots in the French fry oil. And when you would scratch and sniff, it would smell like French fries. You got to be careful around those oilers, and especially if you're going to fry things. When Mr. Krabs lets Pearl open her presents, the cake on the table disappears. That was a big production error there. And of course, when SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs walk closer to the boots, SpongeBob's eyes turn yellow originally. This is, of course, Mr. Krabs freaking out about the boots. They're under the floorboards. This is a nod to Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. It's a bit of a it's quite the story. I would say maybe if you're middle school, maybe that is more of appropriate story. But yeah, that's kind of what the allusion is to. That there's that this man is hearing the heartbeat of something of someone he has under the floorboards. See, I had to say it, and now this is not family friendly. I brought up Edgar Allan Poe. Mr. Krabs. See, there's the money right there. Mr. Krabs saying the deed is done has become a fairly popular internet meme, of course. And then here we have Mr. Krabs and Pearl going on a nice little vacation, getting away from the bustle of of work life, celebrating with his daughter, and of course, hearing the boots squeaking from his hiccups. And that is the episode Squeaky Boots. We didn't talk a lot about the episode. I mean, it's classic SpongeBob being annoying, but annoying somebody specific. It's not like the whole town is freaking out about SpongeBob's boots. It's literally Squidward and Mr. Krabs just becoming annoying, frequently annoyed throughout the episode. Although Squidward leaves fairly early on, Mr. Krabs has to stay and suffer. It's a very comedic episode. It is funny. It's got a few quotes in there. You can kind of now that you know it was made so early on, you can certainly see that in the writing. They were a lot more reserved, I think, very early on than as even the season went on with their ideas and with the bits and with the comedy and the jokes. But this is still fantastic as far as an episode goes. I love Mr. Krabs as a character. I've always loved him, even though he has some negative qualities to him. This was a fun episode. I mean, this is Mr. Krabs classically being cheap and just getting some random gift for his daughter. And I mean, he loves his daughter, but at the same time, the man's worried about money. He's not worried about flashy gifts, but in the end, he's still purchasing the items she wanted. So it just defeats the purpose of him being cheap. But where his cheapness bites him right back. That's the best part, is when a character like Mr. Krabs, you can forgive someone for being greedy, but you can also appreciate when their greed kind of bites back at them. Like, well, that's what you get. And that's what's kind of fun about episodes like this is his greed just bubbling back up and becoming more of a mental thing that he's having an issue with. And certainly his guilt by the end, which is fairly weird. I mean, I know he cares about SpongeBob at this point, but it's weird that I know SpongeBob got down about the boots, but that it affected him that much. So yeah, that is Squeaky Boots. That is, of course, just another episode we're going through. We're quickly getting through season 1. Of course, every season of SpongeBob, I'm going to consider each season of this show. So we're almost through season 1 of I'm Ready, a SpongePod Squarecast. Let me relook at my list. I got to see how many episodes I have until our very first live stream with Mixer. I've had a few now. Follow me on Mixer, because I do, just like with reading the book, I do log on a few times to draw SpongeBob pictures. I'll draw some cartoons live on stream, give them out to people. But of course, like, the main point of the show is going to be Video Bob Game Pants, and we are super close. When this episode drops, there are 4 more episodes until our first episode of Video Bob Game Pants, which will be live streamed on Mixer. I'm going to be playing Nicktoons Racing, the PS1 version, the Game Boy Color version, the Game Boy Advance version, and I'm going to try to get the arcade version up and running, although that's just going to be another part of the review. So what'll happen is, with Video Bob Game Pants, is I'll have a date and a time set that we will live stream all of these games. After the live stream, that whole stream will be kind of cut up into chunks and will be released through YouTube and released through Facebook, all of the video platforms I have. And then there'll be an audio-only episode of the show right after the episode Fun that will be kind of a pseudo-review of the games of Nicktoons Racing. So that'll be just me. I may have some people on the stream with me to play the games. But that's how things are going to go, and that's going to go throughout each episode of the show. So you can actually, if you look up, and I designed this list basically by release date. So Fun was released, and then Nicktoons Racing came out. So then, boom, that's an episode of Video Bob Game Pants. And then you got a whole chunk of episodes. Squidville comes out, and then boom, SpongeBob SquarePants Legend of the Lost Spatula came out in the Game Boy Color. There's an episode of Video Bob coming out. Of course, as time goes on, more episodes of Video Bob will happen in order. And I may even just preemptively start streaming maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, how much people want, just to kind of maybe get a catalog of these games done, because there's so many. But that's at a later date. If there's enough enthusiasm for it, then I have no problem. And I'm also going to stream more than just SpongeBob games through our Mixer channel. Even though it's the SpongePod Squarecast Mixer channel, I am going to play other Nicktoons games, other just kind of random games I might be playing. I've already streamed Overwatch from Xbox, playing Call of Duty through Xbox, and it's for any of that other stuff. It's mostly trying to keep a family friendly outlet out there. Of course, anything SpongeBob Nickelodeon will 100% be family friendly. If I'm playing with people in Overwatch or Call of Duty, it's a little bit harder to control what happens. And of course, Call of Duty itself is like a mature game, so it's, I might not say anything that's, not family friendly, but the content itself really isn't. So, yeah, I hope everybody out there is staying safe. Please, any extra precautions you can take out there in the world: washing your hands, keeping your face covered for a while, keeping your distance from people. Just there's no reason not to abide by those. There's good reasons to abide those for the foreseeable future going forward. So everybody stay safe. Everybody, I hope you're all having a wonderful time with your family and within quarantine. But let's see how things go with with reopening and whatnot. So this is Captain Eric signing off. Have a great day.